To chat a bit of AFL now with Alan Richardson, General Manager, AFL Football Performance at the D's. G'day, Richo. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Trent. Good to be here.
Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. A few easy ones, straight up fitness updates on three of your stars. Max gone firstly with the fractured larynx. How's the skipper progressing?
Yeah, really close in terms of contact. He hasn't missed a beat really in terms of getting in the load. He's been able to run. He's been able to do a lot of his footy stuff, but avoid contact. Not unlike track, really. I'm jumping the gun here. I know you're going to go there next. Still been able to run, and that's a really significant component of this time of the year to make sure that they're getting all the miles in their legs. Both really experienced players. So, we don't mind that those boys are missing a bit of the contact, given they're so good at it, and they, as I said, they're getting the work in. So, really close, both of them.
So, and just on Petrarca, obviously that broken rib was a setback that the club and he could have done without, but it's happened, and he's tracking along nicely and close to getting back to full fitness.
Yeah. He, as I said, he's still able to run. He's still able to do all the work that the guys are doing, and that the program's designed to get him to, certain levels at certain periods, and he's able to do all of that work, bar some of the contact. And as I said, he's, that's a real strength of his. He doesn't need to do too much of that sort of work at this time of year. So, whilst we'd rather have him involved, it's not a big issue for us at all.
And the last of the trifecta, Clayton Oliver, who is such an aerobic beast. We're so used to him covering the ground for long periods of time. Probably didn't have the season that he would have wanted last season. How's his pre-season been?
Yeah, he's been really good, class. He's fit and healthy. Hasn't missed a beat in terms of sessions, and he's in really, really good condition. Quite exciting, really. You're right, Clas was not at his best. He's been such a consistent elite performer for a long time, and for reasons that we understand, wasn't able to get there last year. I'd expect him to bounce back really strongly.
Obviously, the physical component to Oliver is one side of the coin, but obviously the mental capacity is another. Is he in a good space at the moment and really enjoying being around the club and his teammates?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. But you're right. He's had some challenges. But he's in a really good space. He continues to work on, what works for him. And he's going well, Clas. He's got a smile on his face. He's loving the work. He's loving being with his mates, and it's a pleasure to be around him.
All right, let's talk about some of the kids that D's fans can get excited about. The draftees, the high draft picks in particular, will start with Harvey. Langford went at pick 6. Looks a very exciting prospect. And Xavier, Lindsay at pick 11. How are they settled in? Are they both a chance or in the mix to play round 1?
Yeah, yes, they are, because they're really talented players. There's a bit, in terms of method and the Melbourne way compared to what they've done, they're tracking really well, but that takes a bit of time. But no, they'll both be, for different reasons, because they're different players. They'll both be in the mix when it comes, time for our first trial games against the Kangaroos. Then we have our JLT game over in Perth against the Dockers, and then round 1. So they'll be thereabouts. Lindsay's, as you'd expect, terrific composure. A little bit late into the program because he came to us off a knee injury, but he's a real pro already. He's done everything asked of him from our fitness crew, and he's out on the track now and doing everything. So that's really exciting. And Big Harv is going to be quite a special player with his size and his running capacity. His ability to be able to play forward and through the midfield gives him and gives us some real flexibility. So, but they're both tracking really well under the guidance of Nathan Jones.
And another one I wanted to ask you about, one I'm really excited to watch, Richo Mena Jr, Melbourne's first next-gen academy product from the Alice Springs region. How's he settled in at Demonland?
Yeah, really well. Ricky's it's the first time we've got a player out of our area, which is exciting for the club. We do a fair bit of work up there. Our fans are going to love watching Ricky play. Really, terrific speed, one-touch player. Really, really quite creative. The partnership with he, Cos, Shane just needs Shane McAdam I'm alluding to there. Needs a little bit of luck with his body. Didn't have that last year, but he's tracking really well. So that can give some real potency to our front half.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you about Shane McAdam because he's a supremely talented footballer, played some really good footy for Adelaide, hence the reason you got him across to the Ds, and he didn't get a good crack at it with his body last year. So he's had a good pre-season, and Ds fans can expect big things from him in 2025?
Yeah, as long as we can keep him on the track, and so far that's been really positive. It was fairly conservative, the way that we managed him up until the Christmas break, and then just to make sure that we got the miles in the legs. He's really embraced that program, and he's going really well. So that you're right, that's quite exciting for us.
So how does the forward line look? The Ds have had such a stingy defence in years gone by, to their credit. Melbourne's been very hard to score against, but probably attack has been the one issue to some degree. How is the forward line going to look this year in terms of structure? Obviously, Harrison Petty can play forward or back. Tom McDonald's another one. And then you got your smalls, the likes of McAdam and these guys. And I suppose Jacob Royan becomes the talisman of that forward line at such a young age.
We've been relatively young, since Brownie's moved on, and in his last year, his body just didn't quite hold up for us. And so Van Ruin, in his second and then his third and fourth years, continued to build his game. He's ready to go from our perspective. We think he'll have a bigger influence and a bigger impact on games of footy now because he's played a bit more and get greater connection with the kickers. We really like the way Daniel Turner's progressing as a forward. He's a terrific anaerobic beast. He's got some real power in terms of launching at the ball, and his work in front of goals is really impressive. Aidan Johnson's new to our group. He's a player that we picked up in this year's draft, a mature age player from Werribee. He's been really impressive out on the track, and it would not surprise me at all if he's in the mix early. He could play a bit of second ruck too, depending on what we want to do there from a selection point of view. So that's quite exciting. And Harrison Petty's probably going to do a little bit of both for us. We think that the versatility of Petty can be a real weapon for us. We know that he can play terrific footy down back, but he's also can be a real threat up front. So we've certainly got some options with, Bailey Fritz and Cozzy and Chandler and Melky, these sort of blokes, and perhaps even a midfielder. We know what Christian can do in front of the ball as a forward as well. So it's pretty exciting, I reckon. I
think a lot of pundits may argue that Melbourne for some time has relied on its veterans, its superstars, and the top-end talent is just ridiculous. The likes of Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, May, Lever and Coe. Is there a bit of a breath of fresh air with the Ds now, with the likes of Caleb Windsor and Taj Woden and some of these youngsters really stepping up and coming through to support these older guys?
Yeah, no, I can understand that people are thinking that way, but because of the reputation of those players, and that's fair. Terrific players and have been for such a long time. But McVie, Turner, Van Ruin, these sort of blokes you mentioned, Trent Rivers coming through.
Yep.
No, there's a good group underneath that are pushing through and that have already been having a pretty significant impact on performance. So no, we're really confident about the next group coming through. This year's draft, we've already spoken about the young blokes coming. They're terrifically talented players that we think are going to help the team going forward.
A very good player became an excellent player, in my opinion, last year in Trent Rivers, who you mentioned there, breaking into that midfield. He was so consistent for Melbourne, and where injuries crawled much of the campaign. Has he done most of his pre-season working with the mids, and is he a midfielder to stay now?
That's the plan, Trent. The problem is that he's such a good defender, both from a defending his man, intercepting, and then being quite creative with the ball. It's always a challenge when you've got someone that's been. So it's a bit like Coe Pyke in the midfield, Christian Petrarca in the midfield, and also their ability to play forward. It's a bit of an arm wrestle between line coaches and who wants him and who gets him. And the reality is it ends up what's best for the team. But no, Trent's power, his ability to be able to be really penetrating with his running capacity, but also with the way that he uses the footy, really helps us when he's in the middle of the ground. And so that's the plan at this stage. But he has the talent and the weapons to be able to play in multiple positions.
One question that won't go away, and I'm sure you get sick of being asked the question, but I've got to do it. The West Australian recently reporting that Coe Pyke was, quote, desperate to return to WA, and a lot would have to go wrong for him not to be on Fremantle's list next season. What can you tell us about Coe? Is he happy and settled at Melbourne and looking forward to a big year in red and blue?
I didn't see the article, Trent, but I don't know about desperate to play for Freo. It could be that a West Australian club might be desperate to get hold of Coe, and I don't blame him. He's a terrific player. He's got strong connections in Perth because of his nana and family. But no, he's really happy here in Melbourne. Both he and his family, Bellamy, and Ardu, his partner, they love the footy club. He loves his teammates. We're really confident that Coe will be with us for a long time.
Last one, Richo, and we're chatting to Alan Richardson, General Manager, AFL Football Performance at the D's. What does the short term hold for the club in terms of practice matches, both internal and external?
Starting to ramp up the internal stuff now. You know, we call it match sim, and we start the ball. If you were to come along to training, it's not as though you started at centre bounce. You might start it in a rebound position, or you might start it on entry, depending on what the coaches want to work on. But fundamentally, it's scrimmage work. So that's happening now, leading into the Kangaroos, as I mentioned earlier. I'm pretty sure that's the 22nd of Feb. That's after the All-Stars game, so we'll have a couple of our Indigenous boys, Cozzy, Maisie, playing that game against Fremantle over in Perth, and then our last JLT game, the whole team goes back over to play Fremantle in Perth, as a lead into the season. So it's pretty close.
Richo, as always, thanks for your time here on RSN, mate. Really appreciate it. Best of luck for the season ahead.
Good on you, Trent. Thanks for that.
Alan Richardson there, always very good with his time, the General Manager of Football Performance at the D's. Yeah, I think I'm relatively bullish on the D's this year. I think they've got a nice crop of youngsters coming through, where probably couldn't say that in years gone by. They were very reliant on Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, Pickett, May and Lever. But I think some of these young guys coming through, Van Rooyen, I've got big expectations of. Harvey Langford looks an absolute jet. Xavier Lindsay as well. And Caleb Windsor was very impressive last season. So Trent Rivers in the midfield, if he continues to improve on that trajectory that he had last season, they might be in the mix around about top 4 to top 6, I reckon, the D's in 2025.
Want to see more from the D's? And don't forget to subscribe up here.